So welcome to this podcast with me, Chris Jones, founder of the London Screenwriters Festival and Talent Campus, Guerrilla Filmmakers Handbook author, and filmmaker. I'm here doing a podcast with Mark Renshaw after we had a kind of outcry from the community last year from everybody saying we need to hear about the amazing success stories that we've all been having. So I'm talking to all the past Talent Campers about their experiences at Talent Campus and also their adventures beyond the Talent Campus. So Mark, welcome. And whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm in the northwest of the UK, between Liverpool and Manchester, in a place called St Helens.
St. Helens. That's so close. As you know, I'm from Wigan, so you could probably chuck a brick out of your window and hit my house. So how have you been since Talent Campus? What's been going on?
Well, the pandemic kind of like screwed things over a bit, but Talent Campus was just like a really good like boost for me. And productivity wise, I started writing prose as well as screenplays, which is one of the things I announced I was going to do at Talent Campus. I've published several short stories. I've won some competitions, including the big one, which was Austin at 2022. And I kind of like just got myself out there, which is one of the things that Talent Campus kind of like pushes you to do. And that's kind of taken me to some strange places, like Austin, but I also ended up at the Houses of Parliament over a script that I wrote about Brexit, and I thought I was going to end up in the Tower, but I got invited to a party, wined and dined, and there was a competition there that they entered me into that connected to the screenplay. I've been to Nashville a couple of times for the film festival over there. It's just been a ride,
Wild. So let's talk about some of those successes. So getting into Austin, how did that come about?
Entering for quite a few years now, and I've been a second rounder a few times, which is their equivalent to the quarterfinals. But what they do is they put on special events for second rounders and semi-finalists, and they give you a discount on tickets to try and encourage you to go there. So I got to the second round like normal, and then I got to the semi-finals, and they started asking me, do I want to go? And I went, yeah, I'm going to go, because I've always said to myself, if I get to that stage, I will go. And then the week before I was due to go, they said I was a finalist, and basically I got my ticket refunded, and I got invited to the awards ceremony. I went there, I had the most amazing time, and at the awards ceremony, there was people like Stephen Merchant there and lots of people from the business. And they read, when they said, like, and the award goes to, and they read my name out, I had to go up there right next to Stephen Merchant, give a little speech, and it was just the most amazing feeling ever,
Amazing. And what was that script?
It's a script called Slayfest. It's a horror comedy about a group of wannabe serial killers who are carrying a body up the side of a hill, and it's to go to this like annual serial killer convention, which they've been trying to win so they can make it into the big time. And it's about their adventures going up this hill and what awaits them at the top.
Right. So you are officially demented.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Well, we knew that from Talent Campus.
We did.
And you've more recently, or maybe not more recently, because it was completely under wraps for some time, wasn't it? You had an adventure in cyberspace, I guess, or in alternative realities. Why don't you share about that journey as well?
Okay, so this was bizarre. So, like, beginning of last year, I think it was, I suddenly got an email from this guy who claimed to be the head of development at Blur Studio. But it was sent to I've got like a special email address that I only use for writing, and that I've been quite, careful not to share that out. So it had come through the right way, and he just said, "Look, we love your work. We're working on this new project. Would you be interested in talking about maybe doing some pitches for it?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right. This isn't real." But I looked him up, looked the guy up, and I got his on LinkedIn and IMDb Pro, and got his picture and everything. And I said, "Yeah, go on, let's talk about it." So then he sent me this NDA that I had to sign. And I looked at it and it was like, oh my God, this is with Amazon, And we had the meeting and it was him. And it was at Blur Studio and it was like in LA, And he was saying, like, he saw that I haven't got it on now, but I had a Mandalorian t-shirt on at the time. And he went, oh yeah, I used to work for Lucas and I was working on this show like years ago about Boba Fett, and we had to can it because they were going to do like Force Awakens, and so we shelved it. And he was saying like, and that's what eventually became The Mandalorian. They used what we did to start off The Mandalorian. And I'm thinking, why is he sharing all this for me? And why is he telling me these things? And And then he just said, look, we've read your work and we really like it. And Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool, he's the one who's read your work. And we Blur Studio, they do Love, Death and Robots for Netflix. They do the Sonic the Hedgehog films. And he said, basically, we've got this new anthology coming, similar style to Love, Death and Robots, but it's going to be based on games. It's going to be based on the biggest IP franchises in the world. And we're going to be touching stuff all the way from the beginning, so like Pac-Man and all that, right the way through to stuff that isn't even out yet. And we're even going to be doing some really like fringe stuff that only like has got a cult following or is only famous in a certain part of the world. And we want to get you involved. So I was like, okay. And I just said, like, how do you know me? And he basically said, Tim Miller is this, like, he reads so much. He reads a lot. And he came across my stuff because I've had a couple of stories published in a series and anthologies called Snafu. And I think it's that because several of the Snafu stories have been adapted into Love, Death and Robots episodes. So that made sense. But the thing, they were quoting stuff off my website. They did the research. They knew my screenplays. They knew some of the short films that I'd produced. And they mentioned some of my other short stories as well. So they definitely properly like checked me out.
Right. And I think there's something really interesting in all of that you have all of that stuff. You have the website, you have the short stories published, you have the producing credits, you've got all of this stuff, which isn't directly like, here's my feature script, read it and produce it. It's all adjacent, but it's the adjacent stuff that got you the opportunity.
Yeah, and that's like kind of one of the things that was in Talent Campus and London Screenwriters Festival is like, don't just write a screenplay and enter a competition. Try every avenue possible. Get your writing out there or get your talent out there in any way you can. So I signed up for it and I was basically paid to pitch ideas for upcoming episodes. And I was assigned my own exec, which was great. And they said me the episode that they was aiming for, the franchise that it was, they would send me all these materials that they packaged up. So there'd be videos, there'd be imagery, there'd be all the backstory about the IP. There'd be the guidelines, so I knew what I could do, what I couldn't do, which characters I could use, which characters I couldn't use. And any question I had, I could just ask the exec. And so I wrote 3 pitches. The first episode was like right up my league. It was perfect for me. I was absolutely blown over. So I did about 3 pitches in a week, sent it off to them, waited a few weeks, and I was like biting my nails. And then they said they loved them and they were going to package them up, send them off to the client. And I waited and waited and waited. And then eventually they came back and said, we haven't actually been able to secure the IP for this particular episode, so we're dropping it. And I thought that was it, game over. That's just them letting me down nicely. But a few weeks later, they had 1 episode left and they invited me to do that as well. That one I wasn't familiar with, and it was out of my comfort zone. But again, using what was taught at Talent Campus, there was no way I was letting this opportunity go. So I did it again. I got paid to pitch again, and then it all got packaged up again. And unfortunately, they went for another author because they had several authors working on each episode. And again, I thought my time was up there, but the head of the development got back in touch with me a few weeks later and said that they were really pleased with my work and that would consider using me in the future. And then when the trailer came out a few weeks ago, he got in touch with me again to tell me that I was okay to talk about it now, but I was also the guidelines about what I could and couldn't say. So I couldn't tell you exactly what episodes I worked on, for example. But that option, that avenue, is still there, still open. So hopefully something else comes of it.
Right. And crucially, you were paid and you were in the game. How did that all feel?
That is the thing that I've been wanting to do my entire life, Chris. That was the dream. For those few months, I was on cloud nine and I was doing exactly what I've always wanted to do. And I could turn around and say I was being paid for it. And it just was the best feeling ever,
Yeah. And not just being paid, but being paid by the biggest in the world.
Yeah. Although I haven't got ideally I'd love to be sitting here now and saying that, when it comes out in December, one of them will have story written by Mark Renshaw. And the other thing they're going to do as well is they're going to publish a book after the series is out with all the episodes in. So, I'd love to be able to tell you that I'm going to be there, but being a part of it is just, that's it. That's the dream. And in not just working on something that's writing, working in the exact area that I like. I love the fantastical, I love sci-fi, I love fantasy, I love supernatural horror, and that's everything that I was playing around with during that time.
And you obviously put one of the stories into The Singularity, which is one of the Create 50 projects, and that got published. And you mentioned that you've got other books that have been published.
Yeah, so Automatic Drive, which is the first story in the Singularity 50, and some may think that's because it's alphabetical order, but I think it's because it's the best one. A couple of stories that I entered into Twisted, I eventually got them published in a book called An Eclectic Mix. And then I got a couple of stories in the Snafu. So there's one called Snafu Resurrection. And then more recently last year, there was one. Each Snafu is a different themed. So the latest one is called Snafu Punked, which is based on cyberpunk. So I entered in that. I've been shortlisted a few times for some of their other volumes, and they are accepting. It's an open submission policy, so anybody can enter. They start in January till March. And the next one's called Contagion, and it's all based around viruses and diseases and stuff, which ends up with monsters. So Snafu is all about. Snafu is a military term. It means, well, am I allowed to swear on this, Chris, or should I keep it PG?
I mean, you know me.
Situation normal, all fucked up. It's a military term. So the Snafu books are all kind of like military-based, action-based horror. They could have fantasy elements, they can have sci-fi elements, they can have any element going, but they want like really like full of action and short. So the next one's Snafu Contagion, open for submissions in January. So I'm working on a few ideas for that at the moment.
Right. And you got a Facebook group, haven't you, where you do regular Zooms or things like this?
Yes. So Screenwriters writing novels. Our friend Julian Friedman and Lucy both kind of like they suggested that I kind of like have a go at doing this after me and Julian was having a chat. I won a Euroscript script story competition, and part of the prize was a session with Julian, and we got talking about e-publishing and how huge it is now, and how he reckons that screenwriters should have a go at doing prose. And I said, well, I already do. So he suggested setting up this group, and him and Lucy helped me get it going. Got me a few guests to get started. So what we do, it's like a small private group. We've got about 400 at the moment, but we've got authors, we've got screenwriters, we've got agents, we've got producers, all the way from amateur to pro. It's kind of like a support group. So it's a lot of memes, a lot of GIFs, a lot of memes.
Right.
But every so often I will get someone from the business. Usually I'll try and get someone who's actually done it, who's gone from writing screenplays to writing novels. But I've had Amazon KDP representatives on there. We've even had an ex-UK ambassador who's become a writer on there. We'll have people from the business just talking about how they've gone about their things. I mean, a few weeks ago we had a lady who's joined Google's quantum AI PhD program, talking about how she's used AI to help convert her screenplays into novels, and she's got a publishing deal with Julian. So that was very interesting. It's all about just exploring different aspects of the creative world, loosely based around supporting people who want to try switching from one genre of writing to one style of writing to another. But it's good fun.
Let's jump back in time now to your Talent Campus experience and what it felt like when you joined the campus and what you got from it.
Talent Campus was just absolutely amazing for me. I mean, I used to go to London Screenwriters Festival with you guys, and that to me, it was always like a massive creative boost for me because, I sit here 24/7 with a brain that tells me I'm not good enough and that I don't deserve to be at the table, and I write too weird stuff and non-commercial stuff and no one will get me and all that type of stuff. And when I used to go to London Screenwriters Festival, that kind of used to go into the background and my shields would come out and everything. And then we was at one a while ago, and you were splitting Talent Campus off because it used to be part of London Screenwriters Festival, and then you split it off to this separate thing. And people, the delegates who've been on it, were saying it's like a London Screenwriters Festival, but a massive concentrated dose, and it's much more close and in person. I was like, okay, I've got to have a go at this. So I signed up. We went down there. I mean, it all starts as soon as you sign up, basically. It doesn't start on the day. You have us doing stuff all the way up to it, building up towards it. I got to meet the guys. We're still friends now. I mean, it was just such an amazing experience. It's like you mix all these sort of different elements, like a creative boot camp, spiritual journey. You know, you challenges. There's games to play. It's just a lovely mix of all the different kind of like things from different disciplines and different areas, but you give it that creative spin. Um, and it was just an amazing experience. It was definitely like a concentrated dose of London's Creators Festival. And the friendships I made with those guys then, you know, carry on today. We talk every day. There's a Talent Campus 5 WhatsApp group, and we talk every day, and we support each other through the journey. And it's priceless. It's absolutely priceless. The experience was priceless, and what I've got out of it afterwards is priceless as well.
And that was over 5 years ago, and you're
Mm-hmm.
still connected.
Yeah, yeah. We still every day. Every day I say good morning to them all, and we again some funny gifs and memes come out. But then one of us will say, you know, I've got this idea for a new feature or whatever. Can someone, you know, check it out? And everyone jumps in, or we share our successes, we share our frustrations and rejections, and it's a support group, a creative support group, and it's brilliant.
Amazing. And what would if you could go back in time, say 10 years or 15 years, what would you say to your former self? What advice would you offer yourself?
Um, Stick with it, you know, one day at a time. Keep on keeping on, because you know, I was like on an actual high when we came out of Talent Campus, and I was kind of like I think at my peak. And from then on, I kind of made so many connections, and I did so well. But then when the pandemic came,
Mm.
a lot of that type of stuff ended, and I've had a lot of like bad things happen since, you know, illnesses and deaths in the family and stuff, and it's been one thing after another. Um, so, but I would say to myself, you know, just keep writing, because whenever I've stopped writing, things have got worse. Whenever I've stopped trying, things have got worse. Writing for me is an escape. It's something that I need to do. So yeah, I would definitely say myself 10 years, like one, keep on writing, but also just go for it. Don't be afraid. Fear held me back for so long. I know I only kind of started a bit later on in life, but that was again. I'd like to go back 20 years and give myself a kick up the arse and say,
Yeah.
Mark, just start writing and just start doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I mean, there's a couple of things there that really resonate with me. One being, Gen Z and the access that they have to like wisdom and knowledge and mentoring is phenomenal compared to what I'm guessing you're Gen X along with me. And it was usually a clip round the ear. And that was the level of mentoring I got. Um, and I'm really astonished at the access to knowledge and information that people have right now. um, and that's really I hope it changes the world, because it has the potential to. And the other thing about the pandemic, obviously, for the Screenwriters Festival, the pandemic was super challenging because we were supposed to run the biggest festival ever in the April of 2020 at the very peak of the pandemic. And we did pivot incredibly quickly and aggressively, but it was almost certainly the most challenging time of my life. And I can see within the Talent Campus community that everybody was impacted. Of course, everybody was impacted by the pandemic. And it's just how to get back to that pre-pandemic energy level and focus and drive and ambition. And that's what the next Talent Campus is all about. We're doing a special one-off Talent Campus just for past Talent Campers, to kind of really reignite the energy and reconnect with all of the things you just alluded to, like the challenges of just being in a pandemic / post-pandemic world, and how to navigate that and get back to where we had perhaps greater clarity, and direction and levity. Maybe it's as simple as levity as well. Like, we've all been through some kind of gigantic shared trauma that wasn't quite as traumatic as we thought it would be, but that makes it slightly more weirdly traumatic. It's all very, very strange. I'm still unpacking it myself. Yeah, amazing. So any final thoughts then for screenwriters out there, and how to get the most out of opportunities and careers and life. It can be any advice you want. Eat green food, which I fully endorse, but be anything you want to say.
Yeah, eat Soylent Green. What it's good for you.
You see, you went there, and I'm thinking of lettuce and cucumber, and you've gone to Soylent Green.
Yeah, no, I think the best advice I could give just go out and have a go at doing something. So one of the things that I think that I did, which taught me the most about writing, I mean, I've read the books, I've been on the courses and stuff. So what I did was I decided that I needed to learn this business a bit more. So I saved up for a year, and I went out and I made myself a short film. Now, in that year, I think I saved up about £2,000, and I managed to find. You'll find if you've got some money, this will open doors for you. If you present your script to someone and say, "Please finance and make this film," you'll struggle. But if you say, "Here's the script, here's the money, and I'm going to be the executive producer on it," that'll open quite a few more doors. And I managed to find a director in America who would work with me. And I did that year, and it was amazing. And I liked it so much, I did it the year after, and I did it the year after. So I did 3 short films in 3 years. One was a fantasy, one was a really serious drama about alcoholism, but with a horror element. And then the last one, I thought I'll go for it, we'll do a sci-fi. None of them cost me more than $2,000 to make. These were short films. But I learned about how to write to a budget and a script. I learned how to work with a director. I learned about adding special effects. I learned about filming. I learned about color grading, and then I took these films on the film festival circuit, and I got into some absolutely incredible film festivals that are not really like, the top ones like Cannes and that. But, like, for example, I ended up in this amazing film festival called Wasteland, which is set right in the middle of the Nevada desert. And for 2 weeks of the year, they turn it into like Mad Max, Borderlands area. And they show like sci-fi dystopian films, and everybody dresses up, even all the staff and everybody who goes. And they have like battle buses that are done just like from Mad Max or whatever. And my film was showed there, and it's just stuff like that. It's just the experience was incredible. Yeah. So I mean, with phones now, like you say, modern technology and everything, and phones and that, just try and make a film and try and put it together and try and put it on the film festival circuit, and you'll learn so much,
Yeah, again, I think you're alluding there to one of the central tentpoles of Talent Campus, which is don't wait for success to find you. Go find success. Go and design your destiny and be outrageously provocative and do anything and everything you can to make it happen for you. The idea that success is where most people aren't prepared to go. And, most writers aren't prepared to go, I'll be my own producer, I'll finance it myself, I'll make it happen, and I'll do it 3 times. That most people are not prepared to do that. They would rather be discovered and, end up sitting on the couch watching Netflix, waiting to be discovered. And it kind of never happens for the majority of people. Talent aside, it may be nothing to do with your screenplay. Your screenplay may be brilliant. I think that's another trap that a lot of creative people fall into, in thinking that what they have in terms of expressing their creativity and their talent is enough. And it might be, for some it is, but those are really the lucky few. For the majority, it's all the other stuff. It's the ability to connect with people. It's the ability to take action where other people are hesitating. As you've done so many times, writing books, making shorts, winning awards, writing spec stuff. It's incredible.
Yep. And I just said, I understand that feeling of like just sitting on the couch and waiting for it to happen. I've been there, but at one point you'll get fed up with the rejections and you'll hit rock bottom. And when you do, and you're finally willing to do something about it, just do something about it. Don't accept no.
Yeah,
just get something done in any way you can, and you'll feel better about, even if it doesn't go anywhere, you feel better, because in 20 years' time, you'll regret more the things that you didn't do than the things that you did.
100%. Brilliant, Mark. Thank you for that. It's been amazing, and I can't wait to see what you get up to next. Thanks for joining us. This is going to be going out very soon. I don't know the exact date, but I'll let you know when it's happening. Any final piece of advice? 1 sentence, go.
Keep on keeping on.
Brilliant. Let's leave it there. Thank you, Mark. That's been brilliant, and we'll see you at the next one.
Cheers, Chris. Thanks all.